brand search. So if I'll use the same example for car insurance. If your website is, you know, Joe's Car Insurance, your brand is Joe, right? Joe's Car Insurance, so that you want to target that entire phrase. And even that's a partial EMD. So let's just take it one step further and say your name is your brand. So if your name is Joe's, or let's just say John Smith, okay? If your name is John Smith, that is your brand. Your brand name is John Smith, and you want to have some searches, certainly with your brand name. So an example of what kind of campaign you might create would be, let's just say you can have, we'll just call this, we'll call this brand example for the campaign name. That doesn't really matter. Group name, this can be whatever you want. I'm just going to type in brand searches for the group folder name, and your URL, maybe it's say if your URL is johnsmith.com, right? Say that's your actual URL, and you're trying to target the car insurance niche. Okay, so some of your keywords are obviously, a lot of them are going to be car insurance, right? But you also want your name in there too, your brand name. So you may have John Smith like this. You may have it all one word. Maybe try different capitalizations. You can also use your main keyword in conjunction with the brand name. So it could be John Smith Car Insurance. Okay, you may even want to flip that, so it could be keyword plus brand name, and then you could even do some variations where you have all one word like that. So there are a lot of different mixes you can use for this. You should also be using different variations of car insurance itself. You know, maybe best car insurance, John Smith best car insurance, things like that, and very natural type of search that takes place. So that's a really quick and down and dirty on how to use brand searches, but just the bottom line is make sure you're using them. And if your website is an exact match domain, so if it's like just a really keyword stuff domain, this kind of doesn't apply to you as much, because that's you know, your brand is your name or is your EMD. When I see EMD, that's exact match domain. So what that means is, let's say your main keyword is car insurance. Well, that would mean that you have a domain that's the exact thing here, carinsurance.com or .net, whatever it may be. And a partial would just be something like, let's say, John's Car Insurance, right? So that's what we call a partial EMD, partial exact match. Car insurance being your main keyword, it's already in the domain, but you also have something else there, which is your brand, part of your brand name. So that would be a partial EMD. And like I said, this is a brand search is a big deal. But if you have a very heavy EMD domain, you can't just, you're going to want to focus on other things than brand search. You're going to focus on a lot of different long tail keywords instead of just car insurance. Like I said, you're going to use car insurance in a location possibly, and maybe some adjectives in front of car insurance, best, cheapest, etc., etc. There's a lot of different long tail keywords you could be using. All right, so that's how to use brand search, guys.